Hey you, welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
I'm wife.
And together we're reading the Bible.
Starting with Genesis and eventually ending with Revelations, we're working through every book and offering our atheist 2 cents.
Or shekels.
Yeah, those. We're asking questions and pointing out all the nonsense.
We aren't academics or scholars.
Nope. In fact, when it comes to religion, we really don't know anything at all.
What we've learned so far is that God's a dick.
Oh, he really is, isn't he? If you're interested in how we reached this startling conclusion, maybe start from episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in anywhere. It's all good.
Yep.
Hey wife, we just got a new sponsor. It's Anchor. They must think we're doing something right because they picked us back up.
That's amazing. Want to hear something even more amazing?
Yeah?
I actually know what they are.
You are full of shit. I'm calling your bluff. Tell me about Anchor.
Okay, so Anchor by Spotify is the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place.
I'm actually surprised you knew that, but did you also know that Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer?
Yes, because I see you do that on your phone all the time and it looks pretty simple.
It really is, and when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
But I use CastBox.
Yeah, darling, I know you like CastBox. It gets distributed there too, and lots of other platforms as well.
And how much are we paying for this awesome service?
Absolutely nothing.
Coolio! So then we should tell people to download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started?
Yep, do it now.
Well, hello there, my husband.
Hello there, my wife.
Hi, it's Tuesday Q&A.
Yeah, I know.
So, do you have a Q?
Do
you have an A?
I have some announcements.
That's neither Q... Well, I guess it could be considered an A, but not of the answer variety.
Should I knock those out first, or do you want me to wait till after?
Ooh, wait till after.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So what are we Q&Aing today?
Well, the Bible sucks.
Well, yeah, duh.
And we had a big question about, Moabite and Midianite?
Yeah, like, why the fuck did he go...
Wait, what?
Attack the Midianites over the Moabites?
Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah.
Like, the whole question was...
And Balaam. The fuck, man?
Yeah. The whole question was that the enemies of the Israelites changed from Moabites and Midianite leaders to Moabite men to Moabite women to Midianite women to just Midianites in general.
Right?
And wait, what? What all happened there?
Yeah, no, it was very confusing to me.
Me too, because they both start with M, and you know how I feel about that.
Right, yeah.
So, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, cool. Should I go ahead with my announcements now?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do it after we come back from commercial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll do a non-ad and then, so, stay tuned.
Okay. Stay tuned then. Hey, wife.
Yes, husband.
Did you know that we are now on Patreon?
Yes, because you told me, but also, no, tell me more.
So we're on Patreon now.
Are we?
We are, and our supporters can go there and support us, and we have multiple levels all the way up to You Killed God.
That sounds really drastic and escalated quickly-ish.
Well, no, there's multiple levels before there, so it escalates on a sliding scale of, cheap to not cheap. Oh. But, we can definitely use any amount, so, like, any support is always appreciated.
So what exactly is Patreon?
It's a place where you can show your support for our podcast. And
just our podcast?
Any podcast or any performer. But, we're the ones that, you're listening to right now. So maybe you should, support us. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. But we love you anyway.
So all you got to do is go to Patreon, look up Sacrilegious Discourse. It's actually patreon.com/Sacrilegious Discourse is our actual main page there. So head on over and send us some love.
Yeah. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Okay, what did you want to tell me now?
Okay, so I've got a couple of announcements.
Woohoo! Love me some announcements.
Yeah. So this coming Thursday. Sorry.
This week. You keep trying to say next week.
I know, I keep trying to say next week. This week, on Thursday, will be our 100th episode. So we are going to be doing a special episode. And also, it falls on Thanksgiving. So, while y'all are eating your pie, you can listen to us bitch about shit.
It almost sounds like we planned it that way, but we didn't.
No, definitely did not.
We only realized last week that our 100th fell on Thursday.
Yeah. And then, so the other thing I've got is that this is kind of just an announcement of an announcement.
Oh, you know how I love those.
I mean, announcements of announcements are awesome.
That's not...
But, so on Thursday, not next week, this Thursday,
Thanksgiving,
we have a big announcement coming up. So I want everybody to tune in and find out. And we'll be announcing something new happening with the whole Sacrilegious Discourse world.
But, I mean, we're not going to, stop podcasting.
Oh, hell no.
Okay. Just making sure.
We got to bash we got so much more Bible to bash.
Okay, I'm just making sure because, I have notes and they did not include stop the podcast.
No, but there's a big announcement coming up. So
okay, well, I'm very excited.
Everybody tune in on Thursday.
Tune in on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
All right, so now we're going to be questioning and answering stuff, right?
Right. So what is the difference between Moabites and Midianites?
I mean, Midianites have Balaam who blessed the Israelites and then got killed.
Yeah, and also, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Moses married to a Midianite woman, Zipporah?
That was the theory, yes.
Right? Yeah, okay. I was just making sure that we agreed that that's likely what happened, right?
Yes. Yeah, very, very likely that is what happened.
And we also agree, I think, that the Moabites were descendants of incest between Lot and his daughters.
Sure. Yeah.
And that, that was gross.
I mean, that sounds legit. Yeah.
And then, yeah. So, also, I don't know if we did agree to this or not, but FYI, archaeology has not yet proven that there even was a specific country called Midian. And
shocking.
I know, right? It's mostly believed at this point that they were less a country in a fixed location and more a group of nomadic people that just traveled around.
So they were following the Israelites around. They're like, hey, fuckers, stop following us around with your stupid gods.
Yeah, basically. And your whorish women, right? Yeah. Stupid gods, whorish women. Right. Get out of here.
I got it.
Yeah. So, at first, as I said, the women in question were identified as Moabites.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that was very strongly said. And more so because I think, Balaam, the Midianite, was blessing.
Yeah.
He was there on behalf of a fucking Moab.
Yeah.
Because they were camped outside the Moab camp.
Right. So that's why my question was, wait, what? What happened? Who? What?
Yeah.
So, Moses declares that it was Midianite women who seduced the Israelites into worshiping specifically Baal Peor, right?
But they said Moabites.
Right. I know.
Okay. All right.
And then at that point, the Moabite women are no longer mentioned. But then later on, he's like, just kidding, kill them all. And they're all Midianites, get them. And it's like, wait, what? But you said
he just
Moabites.
turned two different types of people into one?
Because they both started with M? I don't know.
And Moses was confused. He's like, whatever, fucking kill them.
Yeah. So there's 3 different takes on this, as usual. There's the apologists, and then there's the what you might call the what is it? Smart people, academics.
The
smart people.
Not us.
Dumb smart, me dumb. So the apologists are the people that they take it as literal history, right?
Sure.
And so they're going to try to make it fit.
Okay.
And they'll find clever ways to twist themselves into pretzels to make it work, right?
Yeah.
And then the academics, they usually attribute everything to more than one person wrote it. Don't forget.
Right, because duh.
Yeah. And then there's a weird group that kind of mixes the two. And they're like, yes, but it's also a great history book from which to draw a lot of excuse me, I choked on air just then.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
It does to me. Sometimes I just can't get enough oxygen.
Right.
So anyway, there's a either or group that they're like, yeah, it was lots of people, but also it probably, some of it did happen, but also regardless, there's some great things to be learned.
Are these the convenient explanationists?
Well, no, that would be the apologists.
Oh, okay.
The apologists are hardcore. Everything is true, and here's how why.
Got it.
The either or, the middlemen, the fence sitters, they're a lot of different people wrote it, but some of it's true, and even if it's not, there's lots of stuff we can get from it that's good.
Sure.
So the apologists, they will point to different books in different religions to try to fit it all together. Okay. And so
the Bible's not enough? It doesn't cover everything? Jesus.
It doesn't cover everything. Jesus.
I'm shocked.
Right?
I'm shocked.
Yeah. So
it's not the end all be all.
Right.
What the fuck?
In one Talmud story, God tells Moses to spare Moab and attack only Midian, because God wants to preserve the land of Moab for the birth of Ruth, who we haven't learned about yet. But she's the virtuous ancestor of King David.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a goodie yet to come.
Got it.
So that's one reason why perhaps God and Moses were like, just kidding, only the one group, not the other.
Okay.
So, whatever.
Sure.
Okay, there's another story that says that the attack on Midian is actually vengeance for the episode in the book of Genesis when a band of Midianite guys, they buy and sell Joseph from his brothers and sell him into slavery in Egypt. Do you remember that? Those
were Midianites that bought
Joseph? Apparently.
But, like, how the fuck are they supposed to... I mean...
Right? Yeah.
Dude, I'm not condoning slavery, but it was a thing that happened, and like they're just like,
well, not to mention it was Joseph's own fucking brothers that sold him.
Right? Yeah, Joseph's own brothers fucking sold him.
Yeah,
like they're the
rather than throwing him down the well. Do you remember that story?
Yeah,
with his awesome colored coat or whatever.
Yeah,
that became a musical.
Yes, I do remember.
Okay, so that's another way that it's like, it was vengeance. Yeah.
I call bullshit on that.
I call bullshit on that as well.
Yeah.
So, so those are two different ways that apologists try to, twist the pretzel.
Okay.
To make it work.
Sure.
The academics, of course, they lean heavily on there's more than one. I tend to go along with the academics. There's more than one source. It was all woven together.
Right.
You guys know this. Let's not
nitpick about it because it was written.
It's all stupid in the first fucking place.
Yeah.
So, linguistic scholars have agreed that passages in the first 5 books have come from at least 4 original documents, with lots of fragments coming from many additional sources. So they're like, can you really expect all this shit to fit together? To which, I would answer a resounding no, of course not, stupid.
Right. But then, if you're going to try to mesh a bunch of shit that doesn't fit together, maybe you should rewrite it.
Well, there were also, when they were fitting it together, there were redactors. So, there would be all of these different stories that they would put together, and then there would be a redactor that came in and tried to make it fit. And then later on, somebody else would come and try to fit them together and try to make it fit. So it wasn't just like a bunch of stories came together. They were all woven by one person, the end. Like that would, even at that, there would be problems. But it wasn't just one person one time that did it. It was several people over time that did it. And they had all this source material over time that they were trying to put together.
Got it.
And, when you got a redactor's going to redact.
Right.
So, so that didn't go well.
Yeah. Not at all.
No. And so then there's that last group, what I like to call the middleman, fence sitting, can't pick a side and get there. Like they want to consider themselves academic, but they're also very hoo-hoo and religious-y.
Right.
And so they think that you can still get a lot of insight about human nature from it. And it's like, yeah, the human nature is that you guys fuck this shit up.
Right, right.
But they lean less on who were the Moabites and who were the Midianites, and their questions lean more towards things like, did Moses believe that the Midianite tribes of Moab were different from the Midianite tribes, and that there were some good and some bad Midianites, and that it's right to marry the good ones and kill the bad ones? Like, they present more like
nuanced,
more nuanced arguments that's all great and good, but yet they considered virgins property.
Right.
So I have very little patience for that.
Yeah, they obviously didn't have much respect for the quote-unquote good ones.
Yeah, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't really want to sit here and talk about how they had some good and some bad. And it's like, you sound more apologist to me than academic.
Yeah.
I don't have patience for that in my life.
Did you find anything out about Balaam or anything like that? Or
I wasn't really looking at Balaam because we already kind of talked about him more.
Okay.
I was more just looking at the people in general and the geography of the land. And when they first started talking about the Midianites early on, like when Moses was marrying Zipporah and taking advice from his father-in-law. Remember when his father-in-law was like, y'all need to delegate and you need to get some help up in here.
Yep.
And Moses was like very excited about that plan.
Right.
And he was like, my God, you are the best manager I ever knew. And he took the advice to heart.
Yeah.
So like he had no problems with Midianites then.
Right. Okay.
So that was the part I was really interested in, was like, why the change out? And
maybe he never did change out. Maybe we're just missing large chunks of a story. Maybe
yeah. Like, well, it's large chunks of story and a not full grasp and understanding of what the tribes referred to themselves as, and how that differentiated from what they called the land at the time.
Right.
Because early on, when Moses was like happy, the Midianite area was considered directly east of, what is that, the Red Sea or something? And then later on, it was more southeast of that.
Okay.
So like the whole geography changed depending on which time in the Bible you're talking about. And so if you can't even count on them to get the geography right, how the hell are you going to count on them to get the name of the people right? When is the name of the people even based on the geography? And were they from one area, or were they, just people who traveled?
I just can't imagine reading the final copy of the Bible and being like, yeah, that's good.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're reading the final draft, right?
Right.
Because we decided, a few thousand years ago or whatever, a few 100,000, whatever, however many years ago, we're not going to add or remove any more. This is it. This is done.
Right. Just leave the fucking gaping holes and the bullshit and the misinformation and whatever. And
that would, to me, would be another interesting Q&A. When was the last time that the Bible was changed?
It's changed quite often because of different translations. I mean, yourself that
but when I say changed, I mean entire chunks left out, not how we read the chunks.
Got it.
When were chunks added and when were chunks left out? When's the last time that we added a book to the Bible? When's the last time?
It's been quite a while.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know the exact answer to that, but I think it has been quite a while.
That would be another Q&A that I would be interested in having at some point, because that would answer to me a lot of these questions of who the fuck are all these people, and what does their geography have to do with who they are and how they were held in God's esteem or not.
Right.
So that's the answer to that question.
Okay.
Which is that there's not one.
Right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Not my fault.
That's right. Not our fault.
I can't be held responsible for the Bible sucking.
Right.
So there is
Are we done?
That is the end.
Okay.
The end.
I couldn't. You look like you were still maybe going to say something. So I'm like, okay. So that was our Q&A.
It was more QE than AE. Sorry.
Yeah, we had to kind of stretch because there wasn't a whole lot of there wasn't a whole lot on this chapter.
No,
these chapters.
Our biggest question was, wait, I don't understand the difference between the Moabites and the Midianites, and everything else was pretty straightforward. If you're a woman, you don't have to be held accountable for the vows you make if there's a man of the house that can decide that your vow was bad, dumb, or wrong.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. Okay,
That's
so let's stay tuned next on Thursday. On Thursday, not next week. On Thursday.
This week.
We got announcements. We got
100th
special episode. We got all kinds of shit.
Thanksgiving.
We're going to be eating some pie that day. And hopefully everybody's eating some pie.
I saw a meme just now before we started where somebody put mustard on it and said that this is a thing in Ohio.
Yeah, it's not, though.
It's not. I live in Ohio. I've lived here for over 20 years. It's not a thing.
I grew up here. It's my only place I've ever lived.
Yeah, don't put fucking mustard on your goddamn pumpkin pie. And if you do, don't fucking say it came from Ohio, because no the fuck it didn't.
Right. That is wrong and false.
Okay, happy holidays, fuckers.
Bye.
Bye.
So that ends this week's Q&A.
If you have questions, answers, or comments, please email them to us by next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern, to be included in next Tuesday's Q&A episode.
Awesome. See ya.
Bye.